I'm Samantha Martin, and you're listening to Beyond the Melody, the podcast. Today, we have the pleasure of speaking with Kerri Lick, a dynamic singer-songwriter whose sound blends rhythm and blues with Americana influences. And as we listeners await her next release, we're going to go beyond the melody to discuss her upcoming musical projects, balancing life as a dedicated mother, and her energetic stage presence.
Welcome to Beyond the Melody, where we dive deep and get to know artists. Today, my good friend Kerri Lick is in the studio with us, and she's going to play a couple of songs, and then we're going to get right into it and talk about everything from touring to songwriting to personal stuff, all the goodness beyond the melody. So, Kerri, do you want to say hello and then tell us about some of the songs you're going to sing today?
Yes, I'm so glad to be here. Thank you for
Thank
inviting
you for
me.
coming.
I'm excited to be one of your guests.
Me too.
I'm going to play a song called Front Seat Fever.
Okay.
This is kind of just would you say like an origins story?
An origin story,
Yeah.
the lore. We're here
A
for
lore
it.
story. Being a musician, you drive all across the state, the country, and it puts you in the front seat a lot, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I tend to, I like to think that I do it because of the music, but I think it's really just an obsession of driving all over the place.
Okay.
And I think that it started with my granddad. I like to blame it on him at least, because he would always just like load me up and take me to the fishing hole or take me to the races or take me down to the cafe where he would flirt with waitresses.
Fun.
And so I'm just blaming it on him. But
Love it.
this song is kind of where it started, and it's called Front Seat Fever.
All right, let's get into it.
Metal bleachers and a fanny pack every Saturday night at the dirt track race. If the ground was smooth and the engine ran tight, he'd win a few dollars and take us for a ride in the red clay. Behind the wheel was a starry-eyed dreamer with the telltale signs of coming down with, they call it front seat fever. I got the front seat fever. It was a 95 Ford Power Stroke. He'd pick her up down at the grocery store and take it for a long drive. Down by the river where you roll across, he'd turn up some Mickey and the motor cars and pass around a good time. Behind the wheel was a love-struck dreamer with the telltale signs of coming down with, they call it front seat fever. Oh, yeah. I got the front seat fever. Saddle blankets on a bench seat seem to make it easy to slide over. And if we're running on empty, you know it's not a big thing if we need to go slower. My full disclosure is the hum of a motor. Always it makes me feel weaker, like the front seat fever. Ooh. I got the front seat fever. Ooh, yeah. They call it front seat fever. Metal bleachers and a fanny pack every Saturday night at the dirt track race.
Woo! I love it.
It's so fun just singing to you.
I was like, this is my dream right now. I'm just getting serenaded by my friend.
It's like kind of like nervy a little bit. more
It's very
nerve-wracking.
private, like personal.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's fun.
So wait, when you say at the racetrack, are you talking about like the dirt racetracks?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, I went to that in college one time. We called it the round, or a couple times. We called it the roundy rounds. And
The
it was
roundy
so
rounds?
fun. We'd be like,
Yeah,
let's go down to the roundy rounds.
My papa had an obsession with the
Yeah.
dirt tracks, and so we would go. And I remember like you'd have your little fanny pack, and you'd get like your like little tickets that they gave you when you got in, and it had like a number, and they'd call a number over the intercom, and you could like win things, you know. And
I love it. I mean, when I went, it was so fun. So that's cool that like your childhood
yeah, we would.
had that as like a touchstone.
Yeah, it feels kind of like I don't know a better word for it, rednecky, but that's just who I am.
I don't see anything wrong with little rednecky
Yeah,
vibe.
yeah.
I mean, it can be bad, but it can also be some of like the more like wholesome, sweet moments of your
Yes,
life.
let's call it wholesome.
Yeah. That's how I feel about it, anyways. And that's gonna be on your upcoming album.
Yes, we're gonna put that on there. We just started recording a few days ago, so this one will be a part of that, and I'm really excited for it to be a part of that, just because I feel like it's such a big part of my story.
Yeah. I love it. And the other songs you're gonna play are also.
Yes. So the next song I'm gonna play is called 30 Seconds.
Okay.
This song came from like a really hard chapter of my life. There was just a super, super tough season that I went through, and I had a friend tell me that it's okay to be sad. It's okay to feel those emotions, you know. But she was like, you need to like set a timer on your phone, and when the timer's up, you're going for a walk, or you're gonna like, you know, listen to some music, or just like you're gonna change it up, because you can't like waller in this sadness.
I love that.
Yeah, and I needed that, because I was like having a hard time removing myself from it sometimes.
Yeah.
And so I wrote this, and it's called 30 Seconds, because I realized, you know, that if someone can make it for 30 seconds, then you probably can make it a minute.
Yeah.
And if you can make it a minute, you can make it an hour. And if you can get through the hour, you might get to sleep that night.
I love that.
So
What a good tool.
It's called 30 Seconds. Hard to breathe, but I'm living. Hard to sing, so I'm whispering to the walls. There's a ticking in the dark. It's got me listening. If I can make it 30 seconds, I'll be better in a minute. What's an hour on a long night? The only way to let you go is a little at a time. I wanna call, put the phone down. I wanna look, find it all out, add it up. All this hurting, it's done a lot, that's for certain. If I can make it 30 seconds, I'll be better in a minute. What's an hour on a long night? The only way to let you go is a little at a time. A little at a time. A Who knew you could make this moment matter more than most? Yesterday's today, and tomorrow just won't come. And these tears are like grains of sand in an hourglass of hope. Well, just a few more left, and I've got a plan for when I'm done. If I can make it 30 seconds, I'll be better. In a minute, what's an hour? On a long night, the only way to let you go is a little at a time. A little at a time. A little at a time. Ooh. Hard to breathe, but I'm living.
So good.
Thank you.
That was such a powerful song. I feel like that's gonna help people, like when they're
Yeah,
having their moment.
I've had several people when I've performed that live, including like Taylor. They're just like, I needed that. I
Yeah.
needed to hear that, and I was the same way. I needed that.
Yeah.
And so I really, it was for a long time really hard for me to play. And to be completely transparent, I wrote it when my husband, when Raymond and I were separated, and it was just really hard to like see him live life and see us live life, you know, like apart from each other. And I wrote that, you know, while we were apart, and then when we made it through that, and and now, you know, we're back and things are thriving and we're better than we've ever been. And so it's like, it's tough to like sing it because it reminds me of that chapter, but also like I think that people need to hear it.
I think people need to hear it too, and so thank you for writing it, because I feel like people will definitely like resonate with that feeling, and that's awesome. I love that one.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
So the next one I was gonna play is gonna be our story.
Our origin story.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, tell them a little bit about that.
Okay, so Sam here, my lovely dear friend Sam, we both go to one of just our favorite music festival. I feel like
Larry
it's my
Joe
favorite.
Taylor
Yeah,
Fest.
Our Larry Joe Taylor Music Festival has just been one of my favorites since I was a teenager. It's funny that we've both have been going for like, our whole lives. And, and only like 5 or 6 years ago did we actually like connect.
Yeah. It's a big mountain.
It is a big
Although I feel like it's getting smaller just because the more I know people, I'm like, now I know everybody, you know?
Yeah, so we are on the mountain, and we're having like kind of our first year where we really got to like spend some time together and hang out.
Yeah.
And Sam like looks at me, and she knows I like chords, and so she's like, try this one on for size, pretty much. And you're like, Soliloquy. And I was like, oh, yeah.
It's fun to say.
I like that one.
Yeah.
It is fun to say. It just, like, rolls off the tongue.
It's just, there's so many syllables. Soliloquy.
It's so fun. And so it was just stuck in my head for days and days, the rest of the festival. And then, like, you know, that first shower after the festival, that first amazing shower when you get home.
Yes.
I was like, oh, soliloquies, washing my hair and everything. I was like, pour my coffee the next day. Soliloquies. Like, it just wouldn't leave my brain.
Like a little earworm, right?
Exactly. And so I had to sit and write a song, of course. And I thought to myself about the soliloquies that I have in my brain. And it shows I like to remind people what a soliloquy is.
Tell them, let's talk about what a soliloquy. So I can't even say it. Soliloquy is.
I think this was like a 9th grade literature term.
Yeah, I mean it's in plays.
You just forget over the years.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's
a big word too. People don't.
You don't use that word.
You don't use that word
unless you're in like theater. Or
exactly.
It is where the main character of a story or a character in the story is having an internal monologue, and the audience can hear what's happening inside that character's brain, but like the other characters in the story cannot.
Yeah.
So that's a soliloquy, and I believe that I live that all the time.
Yes, I feel like the internal monologue definitely
always
feels
happening.
like a soliloquy.
And I thought that it would be just fitting that I write a song called Sad Soliloquies because I'd be doing that.
Yeah.
And so the song is called Sad Soliloquies. I wrote it in like maybe a few hours. Like I'm just sitting there and it just all came
poured out of you.
And I put it in a voice memo and I sent it to you instantly.
I was so excited. I was like, oh my gosh. It was the first time anyone's ever done that with me. I was like,
I just had to. Like, I was thinking about you the whole time. So. But this is about the sad soliloquies that happen in my brain and how I'm trying not to be crazy.
Okay. You and me both.
Right? Someone called the doctor. I'm running out of breath from saying all of these things over and over again in my head. I could use some medicine to change my chemistry, stop myself from seeping into sad soliloquies. Stage left, scene 3. Bind my hands behind my back. Bring me to a room with soft white pads. Don't you know it's safer like that for me? Last thing I was told, you were headed out to see your cousin for the night. Why did you lie to me? Can't stop this spiraling. Honey, how you doing? You're gonna be just fine. What's your name? Who's the president? Follow this white light. We're gonna have you out of here in no time. Bind my hands behind my back. Bring me to a room with soft white pads. Don't you know it's safer like that for me? It's too bad there's things I gotta do. Try to win you back and pay my rent before 2. The paper I just read said take it seriously, but stability ain't mine. Move on and be kind. Let the curtain fall. I'm writing this all down. I'm writing it all over the walls when you call. You tell me you're not found, and it's our life that you miss. And there ain't nothing easier than when you feel my lips. I will never recover from this. Bind my hands behind my back. Bring me to a room with soft white pads. Don't you know it's safer like that? So much safer like that for me. For me. Someone call the doctor. It's getting hard to breathe. I could use some medicine to stop these sad soliloquies. Stage left, scene 3.
I am so obsessed with that one. I just feel like it's
crazy?
it's a movie. It's a movie in my mind. I can see it all happen. I
Yeah.
love that one.
Yeah. That was a real something about things that I write that it's like it's very real.
Yeah.
All of that happens.
All of that happened.
All of that happened.
She said, I got on the phone with the doctor.
I had to call somebody. At least they didn't actually like take me to the loony bin, but sometimes I felt like they needed to. It's kind of like what I'm saying is like, just take me there.
Yeah, like
please.
I know I need it. Like just put me there. Like let me heal myself for a minute.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I was telling Taylor just the other day, I was like, sometimes I really feel like I would kind of thrive just for like a couple weeks.
That's what I'm
Like,
saying. Like,
I just need to center myself.
I have to pay, at that time, I had a rent, you know, so I was just like, well, I've got to pay my bills, so I can't afford to go to therapy.
That is a struggle for sure.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, thank you for playing us some songs.
See, I'll put this down.
Let's talk about your early days.
Okay.
Okay. Your music has such a distinct sound, and it's kind of a blend of a couple of things, Americana and soul. But let's talk about, like, what was it like writing do you remember writing your first song?
100%.
Was it great? Was it
was-
something you wouldn't show anybody ever? Like, how was that?
I think the only person I showed it to was my mom.
Really?
But
How old were you?
I was 16.
Okay.
And I had like, so I've been writing songs really, you know, actually, okay, let's be more honest. The first song I wrote on the guitar, I was 16.
Okay.
I was like 7 or 8.
Oh.
When I was like writing songs in my binder, and me and my little friend would have sleepovers, and we'd like write our songs, and we'd take them to school and be like, look at our songs we're writing. We had like a binder of songs.
Cute.
And those were embarrassing.
She said those are going
I
with
can
me to the
still
grave.
remember some of those. Those are
Really?
I will not repeat any of
Oh
them.
my gosh.
Because like, what 10-year-olds or 8-year-olds should be singing about this? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
But when I was 15, my mom got me a guitar because we had a neighbor. We had just moved into a new house, and my neighbor played the guitar, and we had like a fence, and I would hear him playing the guitar, and I would like peek over, and he caught me listening.
Yeah.
And I still remember the guitar to this day. It was like a lime green, like almost like a mint green Ibanez. But he was like, "You like guitar?" And I was like, "I'm in love with it." And he's like, "I have an extra one," and he like lended me his guitar, and he gave me like a book with a bunch of pictures of chords in it.
Yeah.
And I always just like went straight to my room and started learning chords so that I could put my words to some music that I was making. And so I think I took a few days to learn like 3 chords and wrote a song.
So you're self-taught guitar player.
Yes, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, it's crazy. That was
Unfortunately.
great.
Because yeah, I could have definitely, I still would love to get like a mentor or teacher to like really like, you know, teach me some things. But yeah, for these last 10, 15 years I've been playing, it's just been like picking up what I can from other people. And I shared it with my mom,
and you were like, don't tell anybody.
Don't tell anybody.
This is just for us.
Yeah.
But that's good. I mean, it's got to start somewhere.
Mm-hmm. That's where I started. And, I didn't really like, you're not good at first. You're terrible. You know,
Sure,
like,
yeah.
I
With
wasn't
anything.
probably like a decent at like making chords until like 3 years in. I feel like it took me a long time.
Yeah.
Maybe longer than most. But when I was in college, that's when I actually like got the guts to go to the steakhouse and stand in the corner and like play for a few hours.
That would probably be so like nerving. Like,
It was.
Oh, that's terrifying.
It was called the Buffalo Rose. I was in Alpine, Texas. And I had like an amp. I didn't have even the proper equipment.
She said, I didn't even have the right stuff.
Yeah, I had an amp and like my guitar and 10 songs, and I played them like twice.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
So you grew up in Texas, correct? Okay, so growing up in Texas, you know, you get to go to lots of like cool shows really your whole life because there's just so many like musicians so like that are just fantastic. So what like concert were you at where you were like, whoa, I want to do that? Like who ignited it for you?
So, to preface this, your parents are really cool, and
They are really
got to
cool.
go to a lot of shows as a kid.
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough.
I didn't get to go to shows until I took myself as, in college.
Oh, wow.
My parents didn't let me go do this kind of things.
Yeah.
But in college, we had a bar called the Railroad Blues. I went to Sol Ross in Alpine. And the first person I saw doing, like, I had been writing songs, obviously. And like they just said, and there was a few songwriters that I was in love with, that I was like, oh, they're so great. But the first songwriter that I saw doing the thing, and I was like, that's what I want to do, it was James McMurtry.
Oh, sweet.
And he was at the Railroad Blues, and he just, like, finished his set, and, like, a thing that people do there was, like, when the band's over, everybody, like, bangs their cups on the table and, like, stomps the floor, and they're like, one more song,
Yeah.
And so, like, the bar just, like, erupted in one more song, and he gets up and does Choctaw bingo. And I was just like,
that's it.
That's what I want to do.
That's so cool. And yes, my parents are really cool. Mom and dad, thank you. But I wasn't going to the really cool stuff until probably like LJT stuff.
Yeah. How old were you when you guys would go to LJT?
I was 17 or 18.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I was still in high school, but
that's really cool.
Yeah. I think actually I was definitely 18 because I was going to go my 17th year. And then I was like all packed up, and my mom called and she was like, someone stole our dog.
Oh my God.
And I've seen a bunch of naked people. You're staying home. And I was like, no, so close.
Did they find the dog?
They did find the dog.
Okay, good.
Which is crazy because those were not the cutest dogs. Like, they were Chinese crested dogs. Those are like hairless. So we were like, I couldn't believe someone stole our dogs, but they brought them back. I think it was
hairless.
Yeah, my mom loves Chinese cresteds.
Ones like just a hair on their head.
Yep.
And someone took your dog.
Yep, we have like
awful.
a bunch of them. Yeah, I think it was like a prank, but
yeah,
it
not
didn't.
Nice.
It was not. My mom was not happy about it, if I remember correctly.
Wow.
On your I was stalking you in preparation for this,
should.
as I should. Honestly, I should do it more. On your bio, you describe yourself as a stage gremlin. Can you tell me more about that and like maybe the most chaotic or unhinged thing that's happened on stage?
I feel like I'm a stage gremlin because I'm like, at any, like, I just never, like, I'm always up to I don't know if it's no good or if it's just like, I just say silly things on the stage. Like, I'm always like, why did you just say that? And like, I'm just doing little gremlin things up there, making weird sounds.
You're being authentic though.
I make weird sounds. I was like, just being a gremlin, like, on the stage. I should be under the couch, but I'm on the stage. This is the story I can't tell. I was playing at like an outside market, and this gentleman starts to like walk up. I would say gentleman just because I'm trying to be nice. He was not a gentleman.
He was not gentle.
No, he started coming up to the stage, and usually people like will approach a stage and they're like, want to ask for like a song or whatever, and so I was like not taken aback yet, and then he just gets closer and closer, and he doesn't say anything. He just like straight in goes for a smooch, right? Like. Straight in, and I was like, "What? Scary times." And so that was pretty intense.
That's pretty unhinged.
That was pretty intense. One other one I can think of is we're at this show in Rockwall, Texas, and it's an amphitheater. It's like really cool, and it's nothing there but this ice house with their really great stage.
Yeah.
And we're playing, and this guy. He had to have been doing some extracurricular activities because, like, so we're playing and we start getting, like, just into the music. And every time, like, we would hit, like, kind of like a climax in the music, he would just, like, yell from not really, like, a far away, but, like, the front row. He'd be like, live action. And he was just, like, doing high kicks and, like, enjoying his life a lot and enjoying our music a lot. And I thought that was kind of unhinged because... I mean,
he was part of your show.
He was a part. He became a part of the show.
He said, "I have to split tips with you now."
Exactly. Those are kind of a couple of things.
Yeah.
Just silly things have happened. I've been doing this a while, so there's been probably things I'm not thinking of that are just silly things that have happened, but those are a couple that stand out to me.
I remember when I was talking to you, I saw Stage Gremlin. I was like, that is so from
Correct.
you, it's just it's so adorable. Like I just was like, I love her for that. That's so cute.
It's true.
It's true. Okay, I want to talk about your songwriting process. I think that you are such a great storyteller, and like, man, every song I feel like it becomes a movie in my mind. I'm just like, oh my God, I can see it. So are those stories exclusively from personal experiences, or like friendships, or stories you hear, books you read? How are you coming up with these like
A lot
whole
of the
chapters?
times, they're from personal experiences. I like to write from places, like things that have happened. I'm really very literal in how I write. Like in Sad Soliloquies, like he really did say he was going to his cousin's house,
Yeah.
and he didn't. And so it's just like, I can't help but write from my experience, and it helps me. That's like why I've always wanted to write songs and write things down, because it kind of helps me like get it out of my head. And so I like to I'm one of those people, I think I have a little bit of a OCD, but not like the kind where you have to like turn the doorknob 3 times, but the kind that like my brain can just obsessively think about this one thought for way too long.
Yeah.
And so writing it down just gets it out for me.
That's kind of what happened to you with Soliloquy. You had the
Exactly.
word
I was
soliloquy in your
obsessing.
head, and you're like, okay, I gotta get this out of me. Otherwise, I'll be thinking of Soliloquy for the next 6 weeks or something.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
And like sometimes it feels, if it's like not a good thought, writing it down, again, it gets it out, but like to like create with it and make it a song and make it something that feels good. It puts a new feeling, or you don't associate it with such like a obsessive, almost tormenting kind of thing.
Yeah.
You kind of now associate it with something that like is fun because you created with it.
Yeah, I like that. It's like you claimed it instead of letting it kind of like have control over you. You trying to like take it back.
Yeah, so
that's awesome.
That's kind of where a lot of my songwriting comes from. Is just, and sometimes I like to tell like real like cartoon kind of stories, like silly stories, but there's still a lot of real life that comes from those. I have a song called El Mosquito, and it's about a pirate. But I learned about that pirate on a trip to Puerto Rico, and like it felt like he was from the same small town that my family was from in Puerto Rico. And I was like, what if I'm related to him?
What if I'm related to him?
Way down the line.
He's actually my cousin.
So I'm going to write about him.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. Some songwriters, they have like their spot that they always like, this is their place to write, or it's the porch, or it's in the car, or whatever, or it's at 2 a.m. on a voice note on your phone. What's that like for you? Like, what's your best writing spot, or do you have one?
So there's like 3 places I feel like in the last few years that I write a lot. For a while I was in a writing group. I took a little break just because sometimes you need to take a break, but I was writing a song a week, and that always tended to happen at the shop that we have in town. My husband does, Raymond, he's a metal builder, and he does like barndominiums and such. But we have a shop in town where people can come into the office and talk to them about what they want built and things like that. And so there's a lot of the times there's nobody there. And so I take over, and it has really high ceilings, so it's good acoustics. And I do a lot of writing in there. So it's kind of fun that it's kind of like a shop in more than one way. It's like my song shop.
Writer's shop,
in his shop. But also there's a chair in my house that is just in the right corner. Like I can see outside, there's a plant, the record player's right here. Like it's just like my creative corner, and I write there a lot. And in the car. Yeah. And I think that's a lot for a lot of songwriters, because you're on the road so much. Yeah. You just can't help but write.
Yeah.
Or think, like for me, it's like a voice memo. I sit there and say, try to record it that way.
My first ever time when I was having this idea to do Beyond the Melody, actually, I have a voice memo in my phone, and it says U.S. or highway, whatever, and it's me doing a fake trailer for this. And I was
Yeah.
in it, but I always like would reference it as like, I really want to do that one day.
Yeah.
So I totally get that.
That's awesome. I love how on your voice memos it does like say what street you're
I
on.
know, right? I'm
'Cause
like,
I'll,
that's
like,
so cute.
Go way back, from like several years ago, and I'm like, oh yeah, that was on Sparrow Lane. Let's go, keep going. Like, that was not a good time. Let's go. Okay, Rucker
past
Street.
that.
Not Rucker Street.
Yeah. So there's a saying, or I think there's a saying, I'm pretty sure, it's that art is never finished, it's only abandoned. So when you're writing, how do you know when a song is done? Or do you ever have to like circle back to a song and kind of revamp it or
I feel like
change
that.
it?
I've never heard that saying, and to me that feels so spot on.
Yeah.
Because you feel like something's done, and a lot of times, some of my bandmates and people I've played with in the past can get aggravated with me because when I'm playing live, something like sometimes I can't do it the same way every single time.
Yeah.
I don't, like something changes, maybe the outro, maybe the intro, like something, unless I've really rehearsed it, if I'm just like someone requested a song or whatever, like I'm not going to probably do it the same way I did it last time. And I think that's kind of like how just art is. Like it's always like in the creative process. And even with some of these songs I'm recording right now, I've gone in and I'm like, oh, actually, I want to change this word because this feels like more truthful or like, let's create it. I've played these songs just acoustic and now there's a band behind it. So now we're really creating an outro, an intro, maybe we want to go straight into a verse or into the chorus here. And, so that song has started, or maybe I wrote it 2 years ago and now we're recording it and it's taking on a whole new life. So I feel like that's so true, like to think that a song is always evolving.
Yeah, just never finished, which can be kind of frustrating, but it's also really beautiful because it does get to kind of grow with you.
Right, and it's just like life. That's just like who we are as people, like always evolving, always growing. Like even like songs that you've heard 10 years ago and you hear it now and you're like, oh, that means something completely different to me.
Yeah, I love that.
Agreed.
So some of the best songs are from like, unfortunately, just those painful moments. You know what I mean? What's a lyric of yours that you like got it down on the page and you were just kind of gutted? You were like, whoa, that hit.
It's probably there's one that sticks out to me, and it's not one that I've released, or I don't even know if I plan on releasing it. But I was writing because I was writing a song about my son.
Okay.
And how much we're on the road. And because his dad lives in Abilene and I live in Granbury, and it's about almost 2 hours apart. And as a mom, I think this is for all moms, like you just tend to have mom guilt no matter what. Like you just look, and I try hard not to like beat myself up, and like I believe in like saying good things so that good things happen. But I just couldn't help but feel bad about how much like my decisions have impacted why he has this experience now. And I wrote a line about him being, like on the let the interstate sing you to sleep 2 times a week.
Oh, that's beautiful though, Kerri.
And it's just like
that's rough, but that's beautiful.
It was just like because when they're little, they just instantly fall asleep.
Yeah.
And it's the I-20 to his dad's house, and so it was just like, I hate that that's your experience, but it is what it was, that's what it was.
Yeah, and you never know. Maybe that'll be like a really positive experience for him, or he'll fall in love with the road the way you did with your grandpa, and like.
Yes, I think it's a good, like, there is a silver lining, always a silver lining, and it's your job to, like, find silver linings and create art out of hard things, but that was always, when I wrote that down, I was like, that was one of them.
Okay, if you could Frankenstein together your dream songwriting team or person to co-write with, dead or alive, who would it be?
Ooh, that's a good question. Daryl Scott.
Okay.
I would love to write with Daryl Scott. So if I could write with anybody, I would write with him. And who else would I bring into the room? I would want Etta. I would want Etta James in the room.
For sure.
Daryl and Etta. That's a crazy thought. And then I would want. I honestly, I know this is probably like really close to home for us and everything, but like Presley.
Ugh.
If it was like Daryl Scott, Presley Hill, and Etta James.
Honestly, I'm also inviting myself not to help. I just want to be in the room when it happens because that's a stellar lineup of
I feel
artists.
like we could get like Daryl is just like such an incredible storyteller, but like I don't know, they're just like something inappropriate. Like he just like is like down home, and like he's so real and he's so honest with his lyrics. And then Etta's got all that soul, and then Presley has such a way with nature and bringing nature in a metaphorical way into your life. So
she's a metaphorical girl. Like she's like, she gets me.
It's a little like river nymph or something.
Yes, that is a great way to describe her writing style. I think that your style is such a big part of your artistry.
What?
And actually, credit where credit's due. I posted a thing on Instagram to say like ask questions for Kerri Lick, and Katie Langley. I almost said Offerman, which she's fantastic, but not who I'm talking about. Katie Langley asked about your wanted me to ask you about like your style, where inspiration comes from. Does it come? Do you pull from your album? To kind of fit the vibe, or do you have any key influences?
No influences, really.
I'm a stage gremlin.
Yeah, it's what I have in my closet. But also, sometimes, like, I go through seasons, you know, like, where I'm really into certain color palettes. But, like right now, like, I'm swamping. We're swamping. Like, and from here on till I don't even know when, I'm going to be swamping.
Yeah.
And so, hence,
It's
awesome.
Only you could say I'm swamping and it'd be like super freaking cute. I mean, you texted me, you said I'm doing a swamp color palette today, and I was like, heck yeah!
And you nailed it.
I was like, I can rise up to the occasion.
I love. They say like you're a combination of like the 3 or 4 people you surround yourself with.
I love that saying.
And so sometimes like I start to like mold into the people I'm around too as well. And so I have to say like my boots and stuff are definitely Taylor inspired
for sure. Taylor Pina.
Yeah,
Pina Tayladas.
she does. I feel like she's just like she's so cute, you know, and like so,
she really is.
So beautiful, and but she's fun with her fashion, and so
absolutely
that kind of like, and she really inspired me to like to get into more skirts and things. But I've always like, I'm a short girl, and I've always like thought that like, you know, you have to kind of highlight the things that make you kind of stand you apart from other people. And so my leg, you know, like I like to like show my legs off and things like that. But yeah, I don't know if there's like a certain one person in my past, or you know, like a celebrity or anybody that inspires me. But some people like to say that I have a Betty Boop going on. I'm down with that. I like Betty. Come on, Betty.
Is a vibe.
Every Betty I've ever known is awesome. Come on, like Betty White, Betty Boop, Betty Crocker.
Betty Boop is tattooed on like a lot of people too.
Yeah. And this
y'all go get a tattoo of Kerri.
So funny enough, I know at least 2 people that have Kerri Lick tattooed on them.
No, you don't.
And it's so crazy to me because
that's amazing.
It's crazy to me.
That it is an unhinged level of love, but I appreciate it.
It's there forever.
Yeah. That's a true fan.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I love you, babe. I will not be getting your name tattooed on me.
Same. But yeah, so nobody really influences my style more than just like, I guess, the people that I'm around the most.
Yeah.
But thanks for saying I'm stylish.
You are stylish.
Wow. Okay.
You always look really cool. I remember at LJT last year. Was it LJT or Rhymes? No. You had that orange skirt on.
That was Rhymes and Vines. The cow print and the orange skirt.
That outfit.
I really like that outfit too. It's like one of those ones that I couldn't wear again because it really hit home for me.
You couldn't wear it again?
I wore it once, and it was like such a moment for me that I couldn't wear it again.
Honestly, retired.
Yeah.
You did the most. You're done.
That's what happened. Yeah.
So last year you hit the road for the Gone Fishing Tour with Presley Hale. Can you tell us about some of your favorite experiences on that tour?
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Like from beginning to end, we seriously had so much fun between writing and just experiences. But probably two favorite moments. Like my first, going to Marshall, Texas. It wasn't the town; it was where we went. We went to her her boyfriend Nick Brumley, his mom's house, and we played Liverpool Rummy with his mom the first night.
Yes.
And it was just so wholesome, and it was so fun, and I really enjoyed like getting to experience like that kind of nook of their life.
Yeah.
That was a fun moment for me.
Nick's mom made me chicken dumplings one time.
She's amazing.
She's amazing. She's a lovely lady. Nick's mom, we love you.
But the one that sticks out the most story. This is the song that we wrote a song about it. And it's called Greta. And we're in Arkansas, and we're hanging. We got an Airbnb on the Ouachita River, and so we could like kayak, and because it's a fishing tour as well, so we try to do as much fishing as we could along the way. So we get an Airbnb on the river. We go out on the kayaks. We're trying to catch some fish, and we kind of just start coming up with this story about Greta, and she's this like swamp creature lady that lives inside of us, but also underneath this water that we're kayaking on.
Okay.
And we like write the song, and we come up with this whole Greta story. And then the next day we drive to Trinidad. Well, I think 2 stops later we're in Trinidad, Colorado. And we do our thing there, and it's after hours, and we go to a little bar. It's supposed to be an Irish pub. It's not an Irish pub. And we see Greta. We're like, we have conjured Greta from the swamp. She is here.
The embodiment of Greta.
She is there. And it's this lady, and she's wearing no shoes, and she's got this kind of like cut off, crazy, fairy-esque dress on. And she's like dancing, like kind of like just by herself, kind of, like in her own world.
Yeah.
And we're like, Presley, she nudges me, and she's like, Kerri, it's Greta. And I look over, and I'm like, oh, it's Greta. Like, we both were on the same page. This is definitely Greta. She is here. We have conjured her. And she does the most craziest things the whole night, the whole time we were there. The most crazy thing she did, though, at one point was we looked over, and she's licking a dollar bill.
And oh, my gosh.
Like, that's interesting.
Greta.
There's some questions you could ask about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Greta was a questionable character.
Will we see Greta in any...
I hope not. I was kidding.
She said
not
no.
the real Greta.
Not the real Greta. Will we see, like...
Not the Trinidad Greta.
No, I don't think we want to see Greta. But will we see Greta? I think I saw a little sketch.
Yeah, so non-physical, we will be seeing more of her.
I am excited to see more of Greta.
When we wrote the song, we definitely wrote her as a human, but she's actually a little swamp cat, a little black swamp cat, and she's just out there slinging her swamp potions and just getting down in the swamp.
I love that.
And she's gonna be making a near future appearance.
I'm very excited to see Greta in whatever capacity.
Yeah, she's definitely going on some t-shirts.
Love it. If you could do another Gone Fishing tour, where do you want to go?
I would like to do some Florida fishing. That
Cool.
would be really a lot of fun. I would like to actually spend some more time like Louisiana, Alabama, kind of go more east. We went west, and that was awesome because we were fly fishing, and we were able to do some really cool rivers and experience fly fishing for the first time for both of us. Caught my first fish on the fly. That was amazing. But I'd kind of like to experience that going east in some of those rivers.
Yeah.
That would be fun and adventurous and new.
So I want to talk about your personal life a little bit.
Okay.
So being a musician is really demanding. being a mom is really demanding.
Mhm.
What is it like trying to juggle those two things at the same time? And do those worlds collide, or you try to keep them really separate?
I guess naturally I do try to keep them a little separate. Just be- I don't know why.
You have young kids.
Yeah, they're little.
Yeah.
And right now while they're little, I really try to like protect them in a way that like I don't ever want to put them in places or spaces that, you know, just when they look back and they go and they're like, why did my mom take me here or there? You know, and
Why did I see Greta?
yeah, why did I see Greta? And also like with the way that musicians have to operate these days when it comes to like social media, I'm not a big fan of putting my kids out there in that way on social media, like mostly like Instagram and stuff. I try to save that for like my personal page and my family and, you know, close friends and stuff. So I do appreciate that like Instagram has that where you can just post to your close friends and stuff. So I do like to share them with, you know, like on social media with my family, but I try to protect them in that way.
Yeah.
And so right now, while they're little, it doesn't cross that much. Sometimes, you know, we'll go to like picking circles, and my kids are both of my children are very musically inclined, and they both love to be a part of it, and they both want to get on the stage and sing. And so I definitely like Layla. She wants to get up and sing a song, and you know, sometimes play a harmonica. You know, like she loves that. And now Guy, he's 3. And he's amazing, honestly. Not that Layla isn't. Layla's amazing too. But Guy just blows me away sometimes with how much of an ear he has. We were just last week and we went to a private party. I played for a friend's birthday party, and he sang "Happy Birthday," and he didn't miss a word, and he didn't miss a pitch. Like,
Look at
and he
you.
said the girl's name, and like I was just like, you're really good. And then like requested
You're really good.
yeah, requested a hug, you know, from the birthday girl, you know, and was just like, and then he wanted to sing it again.
He said, run it back.
Yeah, exactly. So,
You guys loved that. I'll do it again.
exactly what happened. And so, you know, when I can, I like to incorporate, you know, let them be a part of that and shine and, you know, just like get a taste of what it's like, because you can't help but want to do that when you're a kid.
Yeah.
So I try to, if I can, I'm getting to a place, I think, where I can play more shows that I can bring my family to.
Yeah.
And especially as I get older, I can bring my children. And Raymond's always in the background. He's always, some, you know, like helping in some way, whether it's getting me to and from gigs or, you know, I take myself a lot, but he steps in and takes the family a lot. Or he's, you know, like bringing merch or, you know, in some way he's always kind of in the background helping. And so my family is definitely like a big part of my music.
So kids have a way of keeping people grounded or humbled.
Yes.
So have your children given you feedback on any songs that you've written that you were just like, oh, gutted? Or are they just like the biggest fans in the world?
No, they're generally the biggest fans.
Oh, that's
they're
sweet.
so sweet.
I
Yeah,
love that.
Even Layla, she's got like my songs on her now that she's 11 now, so she's got a phone, and so she's got like some of my songs on her phone, and she shows them to her friends, and she's like, I really like this song, Mom, and you know, and so she's super super sweet. And even Guy, like he figures words out really fast. Like he knows the words to the songs.
Yeah.
Where like Layla wasn't really speaking English until she was 4. She was speaking her own language.
Yeah.
Guy's 3, and he has been knowing the words to everything for already like since he was 2. And so like he knows all the words to 22, and he sings them. And it's so awesome.
That is so adorable.
It's so adorable and sweet. And so yeah, they're really supportive. Sometimes Guy will look at me when I come out with like some crazy hair, and he'll just laugh. He'll just laugh at me like, Mom, your hair is wild right now. But other than that, they're just they love the music. They're really sweet kids.
That's awesome. Do you have any advice for other artists that are also parents that are trying to pursue their passion while still?
Yeah, absolutely. I think to remember just to like remember there's no timeline, and for your success, and that your kids come first. because, you know, they're going to have memories that they look back on, and, you know, they're the most important thing. Like the experience that you give them is what the experience they'll give their kids.
Yeah.
And then they'll give their, like, it's important. They're the most important thing, and that your career and your music, it feels like there's such a timeline. It feels like, you know, especially and with the world of social media, like you're comparing, you see what everybody else is doing, and you're like, oh, well, they're doing this and they're doing that. And it's hard not to think like, oh, well, you should be doing that. But as a parent, like you've got two, you know, your kids, your business is kind of like a kid too. Your music business is its own kid. But as a parent, you know, your kids just have to come first. Like their experience has to come first. And so don't be hard on yourself or think like you're not moving fast enough, because what you give them is going to come back to you tenfold, and to your grandkids and your legacy tenfold. And as long as if you're making music and you're recording music, like what a legacy to give your kids. Like that's, you know, I imagine sometimes like my great grandkids will be able to put a song, a vinyl on, or a CD, or whatever they're listening to then, whatever weird form of
a holographic.
Yeah. And they're like,
thing.
look, it's my great grandmother singing a song that, you know, maybe they can resonate with, and what a legacy,
Or
like
could help them.
Yes.
That's
and
so
so,
cool, Kerri.
you know, that's just something that you can't leave behind, and you can't do that with money. You know, you could chase this career and like try to make all this money in the industry, whatever that kind of success looks like to you. But like, you can't give that to your kids. You can't give that to your great grandchildren.
That's a beautiful answer. I love that you said that.
It's true, you know? And so I really think that if other parents out there, like, don't beat yourself up on your timeline and focus on your kids.
Okay, we're going to do a rapid fire now.
Okay.
Patsy Cline or Emmylou Harris?
Patsy.
Okay, you can only listen to one album for the rest of your life. What is it?
One album for the rest of your life.
One album for the rest of your life. I don't think I could answer it. I'm
The Allman Brothers live at Fillmore East.
Oh, heck yeah. Okay. You had one ready to go. Okay, barbecue or Tex-Mex?
Barbecue.
Okay. Dream artist to collaborate with? I guess we kind of did this a little bit.
Yeah. Daryl Scott.
Favorite Texas venue to play at?
I want to play the Old Quarter.
Ooh, okay. Chili. Beans or no?
Yes.
Yes, beans?
Protein. Come on.
All right. Go to karaoke song.
Let's hear it for the boy.
Let's hear it for the boy. I love it. Okay, one word to describe your music.
It's the river. It's swamp.
Swamp. One thing you always have in your bag when you're touring.
Face wipes.
Good. And if you were a musician, what would you be doing?
If I wasn't a musician, I'd be fishing.
I love it. That was so fun. You have an album coming out. When can we, do you know when we can expect to see that?
Yes. I'm going to
Can you
start.
tell us?
Yes. Girl, I want to tell you.
Yeah, hook us up.
So we're going to start releasing music in April.
Okay.
And we'll have a release April, May, June, July. And then the album will drop in August.
Oh my gosh. That's so exciting. For anyone discovering your music for the first time right now, what's the best way for them to dive in? Where do you think they should start? Are there any hidden gems that you would be like, listen to this one first?
Ooh. I would start in the Baptized album. Obviously, I feel like that's kind of what is the beginning of where this next record's, you know, that one ends, this one starts. There are some songs that I put out in the middle, but the Baptized album, I would say A Toke or Two and Delta Dawn and The Good Way. Those are places that would start with me.
Awesome. And then also, I want to talk real quick about, you're going to be playing soon. I think it's like next week at the Fort Worth Music Fest.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
So excited. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. We're going to be playing in the Tanny Hills Lounge on March 1st. And I'm really pumped about it because it's just like that whole festival, each stage, they've booked incredible talent.
And also, the Tannehill's Lounge is a vibe. So
It is
it's such a
very
good spot.
it's very like, I don't know, moody.
Before we wrap up, can you just tell everyone where they can find you, social media, Spotify, all that good stuff? Just plug away.
Find me at a show.
Find you at a show
Come
for
to
sure.
my shows. That is the biggest way you can find out about the artist that I am.
Yeah.
Just come to a show. But if you can't make it to a show, then I put a lot on Instagram.
Yeah.
I'm pretty active on Instagram. I'm also, starting to really get more active on TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
So, you can follow the TikTok. It's all Kerri Lick, KerriLick.
And that's where you post about where your shows are going to be, right?
Yes.
Largely.
That I keep it up on my social media. I do have a website, kerrilick.com, and that's got a calendar on it as well. So all those places, but mostly just come to a show.
Yeah.
Just come to a show and hang out.
And finally, for all your fans that have been there since day one, what would you like to say to them?
Thank you for believing in me and coming and smiling in the crowd and singing along the songs and just like being my friend, because mostly those are my people that are my friends.
Yeah.
They come and they come after show after show after show, and it just makes my heart so full when they walk through the door and I'm like, you came again?
Yeah.
You've heard these songs.
You've heard these songs.
You came again.
You're so talented. You're just a fantastic singer, songwriter, everything.
Okay.
So yeah, thank you very much, Kerri, for being my second guest on Beyond the Melody. And guys, go follow her. She's incredible. And thank you so much. And thank you guys for watching or listening. And that's it for Beyond the Melody.